Good evening, everyone. How are you? Cheers. Excuse me. Let's get a little bit more light in here. It's a difficult balance to get the lighting right. Anyway, let's see who we've got in. Let's scroll up the chat and see who's. Sometimes dim, never thin. That's a new one on me. I won first place. What do I get? You get my congratulations, mate. Michael Dodds is in. Are you watching the England match? He says, no, I shan't be. I don't do football. As I often say, if they were playing out there, I'd shut the curtains. Johnny Random's in. Sean House. Anton, how are you, mate? Deco Dude. David Evans. Martin Chapman. Patrick Becker. S. Wainscott. Snake Eyes P Deluxe, how are you, mate? Chris Ottewell, Peter Collins, Colin Falcon, Jimmy James, Ian Clark, all of the usual crew, basically. Sorry if I missed you out the list there, but it would take a while to go through them all. I see Kieran's in. How are you, Kieran? Pablo Hank. So yes, indeed, it's been a warm one, hasn't it? It's been something. Dare I say it, approaching summer. Howdy, first time. Well, you're welcome, mate. I hope you've got a beer with you. Yes, indeed. I've been so looking forward to this. So let's just fill you in on what's going on the channel this week. As you know, nowadays I don't do a Saturday video. I got an email last week saying, why was there no video on Saturday? Well, because I don't do Saturday videos anymore. I do them on a Sunday now, 5 p.m. on a Sunday. And this week's Sunday 5 p.m. video is basically how to use some of the less run-of-the-mill, shall we say, less obvious string bends in a typical 12-bar blues. And you'll be hearing the Glary Telecaster copy on that one. Then on Monday, what's on Monday? Oh, yes, a guitar solo using double stops. We usually have a bit of a guessing game around about this time of night. So it's a bit of a kind of, I would say, rock classic from 1979, more kind of country rock. And, by probably the best sort of bluesy rock guitarist to come out of Wales. So what might that be? Then on Tuesday, I will be picking my top 5 Electric Light Orchestra ELO performances. So that's Tuesday's video. Wednesday, we're rounding up the end of the sort of double stops kind of thing. Thursday, I think Colin knows all about this. Mr. Falcon, who's in the chat, he knows what video is going live on Thursday. It's I'm basically looking at one of his guitars. It's a rather nice, actually, set of mods that he's done to a Squier Bullet Telecaster. And so that's Thursday's video. And then Friday, we're back on the beer again. No, it's not Chuck Berry, Anton. No, Gandhi. Oh, man screen. Oh, yeah, the screen behind me. Yes, that is eventually going to be decorated with, various logos and stuff. It's just something like, it's going to be basically a little backdrop. I tried basically doing a different background on a Zoom call the other day, but for some reason it didn't work. So that's my my low-tech Zoom background change. I have a solo idea, the fiddle outro from Baba O'Reilly. Well, stranger things have happened, mate. I could give it a go. I'm just kind of playing through that solo in my head, just kind of listening to it in my head, and it might just translate to guitar. Stranger things have happened. Anyway, I'll put you out your misery. The solo on Monday is it's from a Dave Edmunds tune, and Queen of Hearts, basically. And I believe the guitarist on that track was Billy Bremner. Picture looks higher quality, but lighting up and down. Yeah, it's just, I'm just using a cheap little laptop with the built-in webcam. I am going to be going eventually onto the main computer with a better webcam and trying to do the live stream with Zoom. I've been messing around with that all week, but I haven't quite got it to work properly yet. So that's where we're going with it, basically. Just rewired a Squire Bullet Stratocaster for my mate. It was one of his late father's guitars. No pressure. Yes, indeed. They're great little guitars, those Squire Bullets. I mean, who's that session guy? Jack Pearson. He plays one, and he gets an amazing tone out of it. Am I flickering? Let's get a little bit more light in here then. Is that any better? How's that? I just don't want too much, kind of... Excuse me a sec, chaps. Okie doke, love. Righty-ho. Yes, sorry about that. My lovely missus, bless her, she's just come out of hospital, and I told her to give us a shout if she needed a hand getting down the stairs, but that was her telling me that she'd made it without me. So good for her. John, with that screen behind you, Mrs. R can pass you extra cans without us noticing. Endless beers. Yes. There might be a slight flaw in that plan. It's she's had a knee boned and filleted this week. She's got a new knee joint, which means that I'm married to the bionic woman. Hey. Would you agree, John, tone is in the fingers, not the guitar? Partially, yes. Here's the thing. If you give, think of an iconic guitarist. If you give Eric Clapton a Squire Bullet Strat, he would still sound like Eric Clapton, but he would sound like an Eric Clapton playing a Squire Bullet Strat. It wouldn't sound the same as, his signature guitar, would it? A lot of what you play on the guitar, or the sound that you make on the guitar, does come from you as a person. There was a story I read in Guitarist magazine many, many moons ago, got to be 20 years ago, where I think it was somebody who was quite a high top brass in the Shadows fan club, basically got to go and meet Hank Marvin, and at a sound check for a Shadows gig. And this guy was kind of saying, like, really quizzing Hank on his tone and looking at the settings on his amp and everything, and just kind of scoping it all out and thinking, well, I've pretty much got this same sort of rig myself. And then Hank actually allowed him during the sound check to pick up the famous Strat and play his guitar, and he still didn't sound like Hank. So thank you. I shall pass that on. Light is good now. Never seen you look so handsome. You need your eyes tested, mate. Yes, indeed. It's a long time since this was handsome. Here's a sobering thought. Richie Blackmore is 76 and not a grey hair in sight, eh? Imagine that. Kind of take the mickey out of Richie a little bit. But I do have enormous respect for him as a player. It's just, he has that reputation of being difficult to work with. And, putting all of the pieces together, you do get the impression that he is a legend in his own lunchtime, but, Highway Star. What a solo on that. you know, and so many great moments. That will be another one of these, my top performances that I've got planned at some point. It's going to be my top 5 rainbow performances. Buffering a little. I'm sorry about that. Opinions, please, chaps. Guitarists shouldn't wash up to save their finger calluses. Asking for a friend. Okay, yes. Well, yeah. Say your guitar teacher says that's a very valid point. John Robson is over 50 with no grey hair. Well, it is if I let it grow. Where are we? Excuse me, I'm just reading the chat here. Who was the most talented member of Rainbow? I'd say Bungle. But yes, that's a real UK-centric joke, isn't it? John, idea for a solo, Lies by Camel. Okay, I'm looking at doing some Andy Latimer stuff, actually, but the problem is, when you listen to an average Camel album, there aren't many solos. There's lots of instrumental guitar parts, but they're kind of more fully fledged composed tunes. You know, so I tend to like to go for something that is more of a less of doing a full instrumental and more just doing a you know, an improvised section or semi-improvised section from a song. Yes, rubber gloves, Ian. John, are you going to do a demo on the Chord Strategy G200 and G250? Apparently amazing guitars made in Indonesia. Yeah, well, I sort of did a demo on a Chord guitar the other week, didn't I, with that, or even yesterday, I guess, with that PRS Mira, because that's basically made by Chord. So, yeah, I'm looking to get my hands on a Chord guitar. It's my guitar purchasing power is a little bit depleted at the moment because we've just had to buy a new TV. And I spent all morning setting that up, and what a faff around that was. Oh, dear me. If there's one thing I really, really hate doing, it's setting up new tech. You know, that awful day when you have to get a new phone and you've got to kind of set it all up, or a new laptop or a new PC or something, and you've got to kind of configure it all and everything. And this was all, you know, kind of. Oh, thank you very much, Brad. That will make its way to Zoe's place as soon as the YouTube money lands in my account. Thank you so much. Have you ever played a Yamaha FG335? Not to my knowledge. I may have done. I've had that many guitars through my hands over the years, what with students bringing guitars into the lessons and stuff. But not knowingly. The weirdest Yamaha guitar I ever played was a Yamaha YSG, which was a student's guitar. Apparently it was a model only made for the Japanese market, and it's a weird shaped thing. Considering swapping the pickguard on a cream Strat from white to mint green. Never seen that before. No, you see, you need a tortoiseshell pickguard, Andy. That just looks good on any guitar. Sorry, you're not helping, chaps. Yes, you could get a dishwasher made. Just saying. Okay, they're folk guitars that sound dark and amazing. Okay, fair enough. About half the guitars in the world are made by in Chord factories now, aren't they? Yeah, well, might be a slight exaggeration, but not that much of a one. I've already got a cream Strat with a tortoiseshell pickguard. It is, for me, it's the one thing that always, I wouldn't say annoyed me, but you know, it was always the one thing that with a Strat that used to be a bit of a pain, actually, because I like tinkering with wiring mods and stuff like that. And a Strat is a particularly hard guitar to do that on, because you've got to get the, you've pretty much got to disassemble the strings off, and just to kind of get to the back of the pots and get it on, and then getting it back on, getting the wires to go into the into that little channel down the middle. It always seems like a big faff around for me working on Strat electronics. Yet another reason why I love the Telecaster, because it's just 2 screws, lift the control plate off, and you're in. Yeah, I'm with you there, Steve. Mr. Hoggerton, I see the hay fever. It is particularly bad with me. I woke up this morning, felt like I needed to take my eyes out and scrub them. I never suffered with hay fever until I was into my 30s. And then it just sort of descended, and suddenly it felt like I was chewing on pollen with every breath. I own 3 Cort guitars, and every one of them is amazing. The quality is superb. Yeah, I first heard of Cort guitars back in, I think it was about 88, 89. And a lad I knew back then had like a really nice kind of, I think it was like a super Strat kind of thing, hum, sing, single. And this was still in the days when I was still kind of, on board with locking tremolos. And I had to play that guitar, and it was a beautiful thing, Oh, it hit you in your mid-20s, did it, Steve? My second guitar back around 79 was a white Strat with a white 3-ply scratch plate. Really regret selling it years back. Yeah, there's always the one that gets away, isn't there? Strangely, the guitar that I really regret selling is my first electric guitar, which was a Woolworths Top 20, which I think they were sold in the States under the brand of Taisco or Taisco. I've never been sure how to pronounce that name, but that brand. But they were sold in the UK under the Woolworths brand. And it was a dog of a guitar. It was awful, but it was my first electric guitar, and I sort of wish I still had it. Dream guitar, Cobra Blue Ultra Stratocaster, beautiful. Yeah, because is that one of the new Ultras, or is it one of the old ones from the 90s? Because it was the Strat Ultra then, wasn't it? With the I think it had 4 lace sensor pickups. The 2 by the bridge acting as a humbucker, and then the other 2 in the normal positions for a Strat. They were beautiful guitars. They really, really were. And for a long time in the sort of mid to late 90s, that was my aspirational guitar. Never ever got one, but maybe one day. Where are we? Same with Ibanez Roadstar 2 Series Custom. Stupid I sold it. Yeah, those Ibanez Roadstars. I remember lusting after one of those that Gary Moore played one, funnily enough, in the Out in the Fields video. And what Gary played it, so I wanted it, basically. But yeah, I just coming to think of it, I don't think I've ever played an Ibanez guitar I didn't like, apart from the kind of skinny neck stuff. But it's a bit of a misnomer to think that they all have that kind of wizard neck profile, because they don't. Where are we? I've still got my 1983 Squier SQ Stratocaster. Would never part with it. Yeah. Does anybody else in the UK remember a TV ad for Squier Stratocasters in the early 80s? It was probably around about 83. It was when Squiers were first hitting the market, thereabouts, and you just didn't see TV ads for electric guitars, but there was one, and I think I saw it about twice. It was like probably on late at night on Channel 4 or something like that. Opinions needed, please. What's the best 10 to 15 watt practice amp for general blues? Depends. I mean, Marshall do some nice low wattage amplifiers, all valve. I'm very, very interested in looking at one of those Sub-Zero all valve combos and heads that go out around about 10-15 watts. The Bugera series of amps, or Bugera or Bugera, or however it's pronounced, they sound pretty good. You know, for under 200 quid, you can get a pretty good, you know, low wattage all valve amp that will do, you know, what you're wanting it for. I mean, you know, just it's never going to be loud enough to gig with, but you know, it's a practice amp. Indeed, George, Laney, yes. You know, I've had a couple of Laney amps in my time. A Laney Mighty 50, a single channel solid state combo was my first ever gigging amp. And then later on, I had a Laney Linebacker 65, I think it was, twin channel solid state amp. Sounded really good, actually. You know, I think that was the amp I had before I got into Marshall valve state, and then later on the Marshall valve, like full on valve stuff. The Woolworths guitar I had was branded a KET200. Looked like a Tysco. Action was unplayable. Yep, I remember it well. Yes, so was mine. You know, if you wanted to play above the 12th fret, above about the 7th or 8th fret, by the time you got the 12th fret, because the action was so high, you know, you were kind of almost a semitone out of tune by the time you'd bent the string down onto the frets. My mate has always bought Fender Strats until he found Levinson guitars. Now he won't play anything else. Seriously sounding great quality. Have you tried one, John? Yes, I have. I'm not sure whether it was actually a pure Levinson. It was during that time when they had the hookup in the 90s with Patrick Eggle guitars. You know, they had a sort of a partnership, and there were some guitars that were branded as Eggle Levinson or something like that. There was some sort of mashup going on there, and it was like a Telecaster type thing, and it was a beautiful guitar. Belonged to a student, and he was unwilling to sell it, unfortunately. Anton, mate, the PV Bandit is a fantastic amp. I've probably told you this anecdote before, but, you know, let me bore you again with it. Back in 2009, I was in a 70s classic rock tribute band. We were called the Sweeney. And we were rehearsing one night in a local kind of rehearsal space, which had a few different rehearsal rooms, basically. And there was a band in the next room to us, and they came in, and just because we knew some of the lads, you know, and they came in and kind of had a listen to us kind of having a bit of a rattle. And the other guitarist in the band I was in was playing through a Marshall, I think, TSL with a 2B12 cabinet, and I had a PV Bandit. Steve, the other guitar player, was playing a Fender 50th anniversary Strat into an all valve Marshall head with 2B12 cabs, and I had what was I playing at the time? A vintage V6 Strat copy into a PV Bandit with a Dan Electro chorus pedal, and that was it. And the chap from the other band came up and said, "But that's a fantastic sound you're getting out of that Marshall." I said, "Well, actually, I'm plugged into the PV," which didn't go down well with Steve, the other guitar player. But you know, the fact that somebody could hear a guitar tone coming out of a PV Bandit and not looking at which lead was going into which amp or anything like that, could you know, he thought he was hearing a kind of high-end Marshall amp. It says a lot for the PV Bandit, really, I think. Did you have any dinner, John? Sweeney joke. That one's a bit above my head, Colin, I'm afraid. John, still got a guitar. Still got a guitar, had aged 60 years ago, an acoustic. Well, good for you, mate. Good for you. Guitars just seem to go through my hands. You know, there's always another guitar that I want to try out, and because I need to fund the purchase of the new guitar, another guitar has to go to kind of, you know, raise the funds. But you know, it would be nice to have all of the guitars that I've ever played. Well, let's just have a potted history. There was the K6 string steel string acoustic that I started on. Then the Woolworths Top 20. Then Satellite Les Paul copy. Then I had a knackered Les Paul Deluxe. I say knackered because it was the only one pickup was working, and the previous owner I'd bought it off had painted it in camouflage colours, you know, using those little pots of paint that you get with, you know, Airfix kits, you know, Airfix models. He painted it in bloody camouflage covers with that sort of stuff. But it was a real Gibson, and it was mine. And then there was an Ibanez Iceman at some point, and then there was another Les Paul, and then I got into Strats, and you know, I honestly couldn't count the number of guitars I've had, because some of them I had for like a week and then moved them on, you know. Evening all from a hot and humid Stuttgart in Germany. Yeah, I tell you what, can I just say right now, I do not do the hot weather. I just, it's not my kind of weather. I don't go brown, I don't tan, I'm white, and then I go pink, and then I go red, and then I go flaky, and then I go back to being pale white again. So, you know, the hot weather isn't for me. Give me a nice bit of good old northeast England drizzle anytime. Oh, but yes, by the way, I was thinking, we've been talking about this get together in Redcar, haven't we? For those of us who are close enough to make the journey, I think I should be all right. Excuse me, I'll just put my phone on silent. And I was thinking, oh, like let's get a WhatsApp group going, and let's do this and let's do that. And it just, I thought, why complicate it? So let me just have a look in my calendar right now, and we'll pick a date. And if we can all sort of agree, and all the people who are, you know, kind of likely to be able to make it to, you know, Redcar for a Friday evening, how about if we say the last Friday in August, which is August the 27th, Friday the 27th of August. You know, if everybody's cool with that, who's, you know, going to be likely to be able to make it, then we'll put that one in the diary, and we'll organise something. How about that? Where are we? My car's red, but we won't all fit in. Fair enough. Good morning from Los Angeles, John. A bit early for beer. Well, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Well, it's 5:30 somewhere, but cheers anyway. Have one later, and you know, just rewatch the live stream. Why not? Scribble the date, don't have a diary. Yes, that's what we'll do. And what I was thinking we could do on that, you know, proposed night out is drink beer and go for a curry. How about that? So if you give us a bit of notice, I can get some sort of some sort of idea of how many people are going to be here. I'll book the table in the curry house, and you know. Unfortunately, this is a very small house, so I won't be able to offer accommodation to anybody, but there are, you know, plenty of very, very reasonably priced bed and breakfasts in the area. So, you know, you shouldn't have any problem finding somewhere to stay. What I might do is I might put a link up on the community post of, you know, some kind of list of Redcar bed and breakfasts if you're thinking of staying over, which I imagine you will be if you're going to be having a few sherbets. Where are we? Is it a bank holiday weekend? I hadn't looked at that, but maybe it is. Yeah, that'd be great. But John, don't forget us German guys on that day. We won't forget you, mate. You know, of course. You know it. You know, you're actually pretty close to us, really, because whenever our dog loses a frisbee on the beach, you know, sort of directly opposite us. You know, opposite us. You know, if you draw a straight line from Redcar across the North Sea, you end up in Denmark. So, you know, we always say when the dog loses a frisbee on the beach, you know, that's another one gone to Denmark. Excuse me, I'm just attending to vital matters. I'm trying to get a decent pour. I'm not doing bad this evening. You know, haven't got like the usual thing where it's half a glass of foam and with a little bit of beer underneath. There, how we go. I think that's fairly acceptable. How about live streaming just a part of the get together? That was the plan. That is the plan. You know, we'll kind of take a laptop or a tablet or even just a smartphone or something and you know, do a bit of a live stream. We'll do that early on though, shall we? Yeah, 27th of August, Bob. That's just the prospective date. What if you're going to turn up? If I can just say this, if you're going to turn up, can you ping me an email? The website address is downstairs in the description in all my videos. Just ping me an email so I can get some sort of idea of numbers. Yes, all right, Flake. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. We like a decent head on our pint up north. Did you get a chance to check out Signs of Chaos by Testament? It's 30 seconds of extraordinary guitar magic. I'll be honest, I haven't had a chance to do that. I've got it written down along with a load of other things that I need to check out. But it's been, as I say, it's been a bit of a hectic week this week. You know, wifey's been in hospital and all manner of other things going on. So it's, I may have let things slide a little bit. I do apologise. Have you tried Supro amps, John? No, I haven't, as it happens. You know, let's think about what amps I've tried over the years. Laney, Marshall, Fender, Vox, Boogie, Yamaha, and what else? That's pretty much it as far as amps go for me, really. Yeah, Laney, Vox, Marshall, Fender, Boogie, and there's got to be more than that. But no, Supro isn't an amp I've ever tried. But John, on this day, do all guys do you all guys do a pub gig? Well, I don't know. I don't. Oh yes, Orange. How could I forget Orange? I played through an Orange amp at a gig, actually. It was one of these gigs where like there was about 6 different bands on the bill, and you know, there was like a sort of a house band that were on, sort of bookending it, and we all used their gear, you know. Even the drum kit was the same. That all the amps were the same, and I was plugged into an Orange something or other. I don't know what it was, but you know, you brought your own pedal board and just plugged into what amp was available. And I seem to remember it was a rather good tone I got that evening. Tried any of the early 80s Red Knob amps, John. I have a Champ 12 and the Twin, which is my too loud to be useful. Yeah. A very, very fantastic guitarist in this part of the world, a lad called Andy Power, who Mr. Hoggart knows him very well. he used to use a Fender, I think it was a Fender Pro 185, which was like a solid state Fender twin, and that thing was a beast of an amp. Like kind of absolutely clean channel, was like proper full-on Fender sparkly kind of clean, right up to kind of ear shattering volumes, and then a fantastic sort of high gain overdrive channel, but there was very little in between on that amp. I seem to remember I played through it a couple of times when I jammed with Andy at a blues residency he used to play at. Yeah, the Pro 185 was solid state, and I'm saying it was a great sort of very dirty or very clean amp, but there wasn't anything in between. Where are we? Excuse me. Hi, what sold mine in the 80s? What a muppet I was. Ah, yes. Yeah, have you been watching any of these Rhett Shull videos where he talks about what is the Dumble sound, what is the Marshall sound, what is the Hi-Watt sound? Very, very interesting videos, and you know, I like Rhett. I think he's a canny player, and he just seems like he's the sort of bloke you'd go for a beer with. Jim Marshall started his amps just down the road from me. Fair enough, Brad. That's. I met him once at a guitarist show, you know, and he was signing autographs. That's not something you see every day, is it? You know, kind of the boss of an electronics company signing autographs. Used to have a Marshall Lead 100 MOSFET, sold it again. Yep. My favorite amp that I've ever owned actually was the Marshall 6101 combo, the 30th anniversary combo in the 30th anniversary livery, all blue livery. Beautiful, beautiful amp. Absolutely gorgeous sounding, but the most unreliable thing ever. It was just utterly kind of, you know, I spent that much money on getting it repaired that it might as well have got pocket money. It was ridiculously unreliable, but when it worked, it was just the most beautiful sound. I didn't see that, EC. Rep broke his collarbone in a bike accident and can't play for a while. Cost him a gig because of it. Oh, poor lad. Yeah. I mean, quite apart from the fact that, you know, it's impacting on his livelihood. You know, just the idea of not being able to play the guitar is ridiculously bad. Similar thing happened to when I didn't break a collarbone, or I did break a bone back in the 80s. I had a job while I was a student working in a supermarket, and part of my job was to bring in from the car park the big sort of stack of supermarket trolleys. You know, now you know how hard it is sometimes to control one supermarket trolley. Imagine if you got like 30 of them, all kind of daisy chained together, and manoeuvring that across a car park that's got a slope on it. And long story short, the thing jackknifed, and I caught me, I think it was this finger in it, and just, I heard the snap, actually. I thought, that doesn't sound good. And actually finished my shift. And then walked into the local hospital, and I said, and like my fingers kind of going like sort of zick like that, and I said, I think I might have hurt my finger. And, so yeah, that was it. They splintered it all up and sorted it out, and you know, it's good as gold now. But you know, I couldn't play guitar for weeks and weeks and weeks, and that was just torture. Hypothetical, John. Nice 10,000 or so to spend. 3 guitars, 1 amp, or one amp, 3 guitars for the rest of your life. Cheers. I think it would be the 3 guitars, 1 amp. And the three guitars would be, well, let's assume that this one, okay, Blondie here. Let's assume that that's there. I think there would probably be, I don't know. I shall have to give that some thought. But basically, some kind of Telecaster, some kind of Les Paul, and some kind of Strat, and the amp would be, I don't know, maybe a Kemper actually, because then you've got every amp under the sun, haven't you? Jim Marshall signed a picture for me at a guitar show also. It might have been the same one I was at, Pablo. The poster was of a man with an almost identical name, James Marshall Hendricks. Ah, yes, indeed. That was, you know, I seem to remember reading a Mitch Mitchell autobiography where that was one of the things that Jimmy and Jim bonded over, was the fact that they had, you know, kind of, you know, similar monikers. Once had a WEM ER40. Oh, damn. There's another amp I've played through. That was the amp that I think was a WEM. Yeah, it was a WEM. I couldn't tell you the model number though, but in the school music room when I was at school, that was the kind of school amp that you could plug your electric guitar into on a lunchtime and make a racket. Where are we? I would have said 3 guitars, 1 amp always in the past, but I'd probably go vice versa now. I'm thinking maybe more variety of sounds, but obviously personal choice. Yeah, the thing is, I think it was an Anderton's video where they kind of did like a blindfold test between various different you know, Marshalls and Voxes and Boogies and stuff against a Kemper. And, you know, I think it was Rob Chapman. He was involved in the test, and probably Danish Pete. And they literally couldn't tell the difference between the real amp and the Kemper. So I think that would be my my sort of the one amp, and I would go for the 3 guitars. So 3 guitars, 1 amp, or 1 amp and 3 guitars are both the same. Yeah, I think what he's saying, I think, yeah, I hear you, Bob, but it's like, it's either 3 guitars and 1 amp or 3 amps and 1 guitar. John, I know you hate fuzz, but my first pedal was a Carlsberg Suzz phase. They're 300 quid online now. Well, you know, you should have hung on to it then, mate, shouldn't you? John, you are an amp cable guitar man. Keeper, come on, no. I see what you mean. John, you're an amp cable guitar man. Kemper, come on, no. Yeah, I don't care what the technology is that gives me the sound. I just know if I like the sound, then that's it. That's why I'm an absolute, I mean, you know, kind of devotee now of amp models and of modeling software and amp sims. And most of the time I use bias amp. Sometimes for the higher gain stuff, I'll use Guitar Rig. But a lot of the time as well, I just use the Blue Cat free amp. I think it's a fantastic little thing. You know, great sound. And if you put the if you get Blue Cat free amp on the classic drive setting, a little bit of delay, and the Mercurial Tube Screamer free plug-in in front of it, that is for me just a gorgeous, you know, kind of great sounding guitar tone, and it sounds really good in a mix as well. The only problem is it is a bit noisy, so you've got to have a decent noise gate. But luckily, Reaper, where I'm recording a lot of the time, has a very good noise gate. Got to open a window, the dog's just farted. Yes, blame the dog, Ian. Yes, I do that as well. Have you ever played a Brian May guitar? No, I haven't, and that is a bit of a bucket list one for me. You know, I suspect I wouldn't like it, and not because I don't like Brian May's guitar tone, or I'm saying it's a bad guitar or anything like that, but it's just all of the switching options, you know, kind of 3 different switches to switch the pickups on, and then 3 different switches to reverse the phase. I just like to have, you know, kind of, well, like what I've got on here, you know, pickup selector, humbucker, single coil, in phase, out of phase, and you know, it's just so intuitive and natural there. But you know, if I'm gonna be thinking about 6 different switches and combining the different combinations of those, I suspect I would get lost. I'm a simple lad, and I like a simple guitar. Let's have a look. Where are we? John, have you watched Phil McKnight's latest video on a guitarist pedal board reaction? I don't understand how the guy remembers what he's doing when he's got so many. Yeah, this is it. And again, another thing that I've spoken about before. Oh, hello, it's raining. Another thing I've spoken about before, which is, you know, I used to have this was, I think I was plugged into this one back when I used to have the I think this was the Marshall valve state I had at this particular moment. I had a pedal board with a foot switch for the amp, and a chorus pedal, and a delay pedal, and a compressor pedal for a clean boost, and an overdrive pedal to go through the clean channel, which basically give me a different type of overdrive to the overdrive built in on the amp. And what else was it? Oh yeah, there was a flanger, and there was a couple of other things. Got to a gig one night, realised I'd left the bag with all of the pedals in and the foot switch and everything at home, and just had to do the gig on the dirty channel of the amp and using the volume control on the guitar to kind of, you know, vary the sound. And it was liberating. It was like suddenly I wasn't doing this tap dancing routine, moving between pedals all the time. And you know, the sound lad at the gig said, your guitars never sounded better. So that was it. That was suddenly I was, you know, pedals were no longer a thing for me. It's guitar, cable, amp, use the volume control, and that's how I've always done it since. Yeah, Phil, I hear what you're saying. The Telecaster, the simplicity of the Telecaster. I did a video ages ago about talking about why I switched from Strats to Telecasters, and I made the point in that video that I find there's more usable sounds on a Telecaster than there is on a Strat. On a Strat, you've got 5 basic sort of set presets on your pickup selector. The bridge pickup for me is always too shrill. I never use the middle pickup. Occasionally I'll use the bridge and middle or the bridge and neck, but that sounds a little bit kind of, you always end up sounding like Knopfler when you do that. Not that there's anything wrong with Mark Knopfler, but that's kind of his sound, you know. Excuse me, just going to top up my vape. So realistically, all the time I was on the Strat, I was using like the neck pickup for that that sort of big fruity single coil neck pickup tone, and so I'm getting sort of 1 or maybe 2 sounds out of the Strat that I actually kind of like to use. On a Telecaster, I love all 3 sounds. So for me, it's just that little bit more versatile, despite the fact that it's got less pickups. John, check out a video on the Casino Guitars channel. It features a guy called Robbie Z, who has his old collection of 200 vintage guitars from the 50s, 60s, and 60s, stolen from a storage facility. Tragic. Oh, that's gotta hurt, hasn't it? Yes. And you can say, well, you know, there'll be some kind of insurance, but it's not about the monetary value with that, is it? It's about the memories attached to each of the guitars, you know. Some things are just irreplaceable in that sense. Yeah, 4 sounds on a telly with that mod. I'm loving that mod, by the way. And there's a fantastic Telecaster mod coming up on Thursday's video when I'm demoing one of Colin's guitars. It's actually a 5-way mod on Colin's guitars, and really kind of got my my head thinking, maybe I should do another Telecaster project and do this on it, So there is just something beautifully simple. I do like Telecasters. Excuse me. It's time to open the last beer, folks, and then it's chili for dinner tonight in the Robson household, which is we had takeout pizza last night, so we allow ourselves one takeaway a week, and Thursday is a bit of a manic day for me, and of course, as I said, the boss has been in hospital, so I'm doing all the cooking and everything at the moment, and I just wanted something where it was just like it was going to arrive at the door, and no cooking required. So that's why we had the takeaway last night. Yes, Andy, I can definitely recommend. I haven't got the Crimson Guitars leveling beam, but I have got the 3-cornered file and the fret rubbers, and they are fantastic. Oh, the fret rubbers, especially when you're doing fret leveling and crowning. For me, the most kind of irritating or time consuming, or just the kind of the ball ache part of the job for me is kind of polishing the frets back up after you've crowned them, and those fret rubbers are absolutely fantastic for that. It's just they just make it so much easier, and that 3-cornered file for kind of dressing the fret ends is the best thing in the world for getting rid of fret sprout. It really is. Can't recommend it highly enough. Thank you, Jason. I shall pass that on. Okay, Phil. So you got the Crimson fret leveling beam. I'm probably going to have to get myself a new leveling beam at some point, because it's a leveling file I use, and the diamond grit that's supposedly on it is getting less and less abrasive with every time. So yeah, it'll probably be the Crimson one I get, because it's Crimson, isn't it? It's the stuff he uses himself, Ben at Crimson, and he makes beautiful guitars. Empty some refried beans into a casserole dish, cover with Doritos and grated cheese, and bake. Goes well with the chili. Thank you so much, Super Mosman. I shall remember that one. Yeah, going through the sandpaper grits on frets is a pain, David. You're absolutely correct, and that's why those Crimson fret rubbers are just brilliant for that. I got a set years ago. Oh gosh, got to be about 3 years ago. Oh, thank you, Jason. That will make its way to Zoe's. Thank you so much. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Yes, Chris Allsop guitars. That's where my crowning file is from. A beautiful little thing. Very. I know it sounds silly to say this, but it's a beautiful thing to hold. It's a very ergonomic design to hold, and it really does do a nice job on crowning the frets. Where are we? John, sorry, I've just said that one, haven't I? You got some Crimson rubbers, have you, Johnny? Yeah, fantastic. And I wouldn't be without them. They're just brilliant for. The other thing they're good for, actually, is You know, if you use the fine one, you can. It's great for cleaning gunk off your fingerboard. Wish Ben would finish that semi-acoustic he's been building for ages. Yes, it's that's the thing with Ben. He likes to take his time, doesn't he? John, have you ever done a video on practice routines? I would love a structured routine. I keep thinking about doing a video on that, but it's very much dependent upon the individual player. Generally speaking, what I recommend as a practice routine, though, is divide however much time you've got available to practice, and I usually say 40 minutes because it's easy to do the maths. Divide it up into 4 equal sections. So 10 minutes at the beginning, playing easy stuff. Basically, it's like when you go to the gym, you do a bit of a warm-up. Okay, so you're doing, you're just getting the blood flowing and the fingers loosened up, strumming easy songs, playing easy solos, whatever you find easy, that's where you begin. Then, for 20 minutes, you get your head into practice mode. And when your head's in practice mode, what you're doing is you're thinking, okay, I'm trying to kind of reach beyond what I'm comfortable with now. So it's okay if I fail. It's okay if it doesn't go right. Okay, so you try something 10 times, it goes right once or twice. That's fine. It doesn't matter. Okay, you kind of celebrate the couple of times that it goes right, and you try and latch on to whatever you did that made the difference in those couple of times when it went right. Okay, and you're working on something that's tricky or difficult, or just, as I say, reaching beyond what you're comfortable with. And then the last 10 minutes, you go back to playing easy stuff again, because you don't want to be putting the guitar down after you've been playing something that's a bit of a struggle and a bit kind of difficult, and because you're probably going to be, with the best will in the world, you're probably going to be a little bit frustrated with it. It's important to go back and play something easy that sounds good and that you're good at, so that you put the guitar down in a good mood, and then you're more likely to pick it up again the next day. And always record your practice sessions. That's always a great bit of advice. And then kind of go back and listen to them and think, yeah, okay, I could have done that better, or I thought that was better than it was. I didn't think that was as good as it turned out to be. So you can kind of then take notes and give yourself advice on what to practice the next day. Happy Father's Day where it's applied. Well, thank you. It's it doesn't apply to me, I'm afraid. But Happy Father's Day, as I say, to anybody who is, who has progeny that where Father's Day is applicable. I need to learn how to record from my THR-10C amp. I'll have to ask my tech-savvy son. It's just a USB lead, mate. That's all it is. A USB lead and, just the Yamaha software that came bundled with your amp. I plugged it all in and kind of had it running in 10 minutes. And I'm not the most tech-savvy person. Good advice, John. Thanks. Don't forget, some of us are not spring chickens. Well, I'm hardly a teenager myself, am I, mate? I'm hardly in the first flush of youth. I also like Phil McKnight's comments. He really enjoys playing the guitar, even when it's not particularly good what he's playing. Yeah, I like Phil. Phil's another lad I'd go for a beer with if he ever was in this neck of the woods. We share the same stylist, obviously. I like all the graphics, etc. on your vids. Is it straightforward once you get into it? I'll let you into a secret. All the graphics on my videos, all the fret boxes and scale diagrams and stuff like that, I do them. It's all done in Microsoft Paint. that's it. You know, it's the most basic graphic software imaginable, and you know, it's just it fulfills the need. You know, you can draw straight lines, you can draw circles, you can draw boxes. It's all you need for doing guitar stuff. Do you like Dave the Canadian Luthier used to work movies? I think you mean Dave's World of Fun Stuff. Yeah, I love his channel. He's one of those guys that's funnier than he realizes. Yeah, that's always a good option, Kieran. If you're on a budget and you need a fret leveling beam, a spirit level, double-sided tape, sandpaper. It works. I've used it myself. It's the only downside with it is that you keep having to kind of eventually the double-sided tape kind of tends to lose its tack and stuff, and it's more, you've got to do more maintenance on the actual tool, if you know what I mean. But it certainly works as a fret leveling beam. Yep. Dave ain't no fun of Mr. McKnight. I didn't know that. I didn't know. I did hear there was a bit of a spat between Phil McKnight and Brad the Guitarologist, who, again, he's a one-off, Brad, isn't he? You know, but I don't care about all of this. You know, this sort of it's a bit sort of you know, schoolyard, isn't it? Well, he's your friend, but he's not his friend, and I'm not. He can't be your friend because you're his friend. All that sort of stuff. I have no time for that. What grit paper do you use? Well, it depends how uneven the frets are and how quickly I want to get the job done and how much time I want to spend, you know, kind of crowning afterwards, and how much meat's left on the frets as well. That's another thing. But generally speaking, the least aggressive grit I can get away with, really. John, do you have a PO box address we could send fan art or stuff to pin to that new screen behind it? That is a fantastic idea, Jason. Leave that one with me. Brad the Guitarologist, anyone seen the video where he's got a gun on his workbench? I haven't seen that one, mate. No, but it doesn't surprise me. You know, he's. I tend to kind of look at his videos for the electronic side of things when he's talking about the Ask an Amp Tech kind of stuff, which is because of my electronics background. I always find that really interesting, and you know, his take as a working jobbing amp technician about, you know, whether you should buy this amp or you should buy that amp, because if it goes wrong, this is how difficult or easy it's going to be to repair. John, do you use Dremel type tools? I don't actually. We've got a Dremel, but my missus uses it mainly for a jewelry making. You know, no, I've never found the need really to use a Dremel for anything, but it's one of those things that I suspect if I started using it, it would become, you know, massively useful. But I've never really kind of, yeah, I'm just sort of sandpaper, files, screwdriver, Allen keys kind of bloke, really. There's one of Dave's world where he's got a gun in fender box. Hilarious. Fair enough. Clapton, Van the Man said, right, Fred said some... What? Clapton, Van the Man, right, said Fred, some of the only bands talking truth. Fair enough, mate, whatever. Anyway, I'm going to swig this off and I'm going to go and start warming the chili and cooking some rice. So thank you once again, everyone, for making this the highlight of my week. I don't mind saying. It bemuses me and befuddles me how many people, 130 so far at the moment, turn up to watch a fat northern lad drink beer and talk cobblers for an hour. But you seem to like doing it, so I'll keep on doing it. But thank you once again, everyone. It's been a blast. I'll see you all on Sunday on the, or you'll see me on the Sunday video. But for now, time, gentlemen, please.